Tonight on the Reno show, Chloe from The Greenery reveals how to care for the stylish Mexican firecracker. I share my styling secrets for your bedside table. Rowan and I work together to update a family backyard with faux grass. Aaron is back to show you how to revive your abandoned agaves, and I break down how to achieve a luxurious bathroom on a budget. Hey team, just popping some tools and some cleaning stuff in the back of the ute because I'm heading over to the site. Even though I'm hands off renovating this, I'm back in town and I want to go check out how it's going, and a great way to do that is to keep on top of your site clean. So keeping on top of your site clean means that you can be at the site and across things intermittently to make sure everything's running to plan. Also a great way to QA work before you pay your trades invoices. Make sure it's done and make sure it's done exactly the way you guys agreed on. Now, it's not just about keeping on top of the cleaning on the site though. During your renovation you have to keep on top of your budget. So for example, on this one I've absolutely overspent on external cladding. When we went to clean down the back wall of the house to have it painted, once we gave it a bit of a rough up, it literally fell off. The putty and the muck that was in there and the mud and the years of paint that they've been patching up these rotting boards with fell to pieces. So I've actually had to completely reclad one of the rear walls of the house, so I've totally overspent on it. But I have a plan. I found a way that I'm hopefully going to be able to skim in some money off my painting, skim in some money off my tiling, and then I'll hopefully come out even at the end. We have been called into this property. It's a family home and they're on an elevated site, and for a pile of really justifiable planning, construction and what they're actually allowed to do here, they've chose to put in an elevated deck to increase the playroom for their kids, which
That's
is quite
right, yeah.
clever.
And it's really usable. It's a very good space actually. It's nice long space, so there's plenty of room for the kids to run backwards and forwards.
But
Compressed cement.
oh my gosh, it can't be fun in summer.
No, this would be blindingly like white
And hot.
and reflecting all that heat straight back into the house, which is there. So
And when it would get wet, it would be as slippery as. So we are going to do a total elevated deck makeover.
we're going to put some fake turf down here and cover this up. We're going to show you how we're going to put that down and how we're going to tie it all in here and glue it down so it doesn't move around, so the kids can get out here and enjoy this space, play a bit of football.
Let's get to it.
Okay, so we started by cleaning off the area in which we plan to lay our turf. We were working on a very hard surface here because we've got compressed fibre cement sheeting underneath, but so we need to make sure that that's going to be really clean so there's no sticks and little rocks and things like that, because that will come back up through the, that'll leave little lumps in your turf if you don't get that out of the way. So we clean it all down first, make sure it's all nice and clean. We measured our turf then to make sure that in this particular circumstance our turf isn't wide enough to run the length of the site. So we're going to cut it in 2 strips to go the width of the site. So we measured that and then we cut our turf to size. Then we trimmed off the black strips on either side of that so we can get a nice clean join in the middle and on the edges as well. So we just used a Stanley knife for that and a straight edge, as we did when we were measuring and cutting our turf. Stanley knife and a straight edge. The longer your straight edge is, obviously the easier it makes it to cut your turf. We were using a level, so we only had a 1 metre long level, so we had to measure and cut a couple of times. But if you can get a nice long straight bit of timber, then that will make that process much faster and much easier for you, and it's much easier to keep a square edge when you're using one single line. And so we trimmed our turf to size, and then we spun it and rotated it, dragged it to the point where we want to make sure that it's all fitting and that it's all nice, neat fit and everything sits inside the lines that we've cut it for. And then we just ran a couple of strips of double-sided outdoor mounting tape, essentially underneath the outside edges of our turf, laid that down on the compressed fibre cement, peeled off the top layer of the turf, and then pushed our turf down, peeled off the top layer of the tape, and then pressed our turf back down over the top of that, stood on it, held it down nice and tight. Now, we're dealing with a fair bit of weight in this turf, so it has a fair capacity to hold itself in place once it's been fixed in the corners and along the edges. If you were doing this on another surface, so over ground or dirt or something like that, you can also peg your turf down with turf pegs that are provided at any turf supply store, and that's also a very good way of holding it down, stopping it from moving. And then we moved into the middle. Again, we cleaned that joint where we're going to join both those bits of turf together, and we put down a strip of single-sided 100mm wide turf joining tape. We stuck that to one side of the turf, and then we dragged our other side of turf up and lined it up, and then placed it down, just trod on it and pressed it down hard. And then we just ran one bit of double-sided tape down the balustrade side of the turf, just to stop it from twisting a bit on that edge. The other edge will serve to hold it in because it's up hard against the deck. And then that's it, pretty much. We brushed the join line a little bit just to lift that turf up and try and make that join line a little less obvious, but over time that should all knit together, and that join line should become less and less obvious as the time goes on. And that's basically it, everybody. Then you can sit back like we did, have a cup of tea, and enjoy your new artificial turf lawn. So that's it. We finished the turf out here on the compressed fibre cement deck, and I've got to say, it's pretty gratifying not having the glare just bouncing into our faces at the sun coming out.
I know. We can sit here, nice cup of tea, out onto turf that you never have to mow.
Oh, how good is that?
Pet friendly.
Pet friendly. It's very stable in UV now. The turf, artificial turf they have out now is very, very good at withstanding the harshness of the sun here.
Do you know what I loved about it when we chose this turf?
What's that?
Is we got to choose exactly the look we wanted.
Yeah.
We even got different varieties of turf to choose from.
There is a massive variety as well. So make sure you choose turf that's fit for purpose. So if you're going to be walking on it a lot, you want something nice and soft underfoot. If you're just using it to trim up around garden beds and things like that, which you can do as well, you can get a nice short tuft that is quite rough to the touch, but it looks very, very nice in around trimming things up. It highlights garden beds really well. So
it does.
Yeah, there's a
neat
massive
stuff
variety.
up, hey?
Neat stuff up a lot.
But either way, guys, check out the view.
Cheers.
Cheers. Well done, boss.
Thanks. Well, I was boss, was I?
Oh, for now. For now.
That remains to be seen.
Bespoke styling is the perfect way to complete your renovation. So join me for some styling secrets. Great bedside table styling doesn't just happen. There's usually a little bit of planning, a lot of inspiration, and a tad of thought that goes into creating a very inspiring space. A really valuable tip when you're styling your bedside tables to create cohesion with the rest of your room is to bring some of the colours of your room into your bedside table styling. Whether that be with your flowers or with some decorative accessories, make sure that it feels like a streamlined and sophisticated part of the space. Let there be light. Whether it's a wall sconce, a hanging pendant, or a table lamp, lighting on your bedside table is so essential from the perspective of function as well as setting the mood. Organic items are so amazing to use when you are styling your bedsides. Now, I don't just mean plants and flowers for this. I mean anything that is raw and natural. So rattans, timbers, stones, either in beautiful little decorative dishes, coasters, or even in your lamp. Fresh blooms are a great way to bring in a bit of life, a bit of that organic feel, and a bit of colour to your bedside table. It could just be a single stem, it could be an orchid, or it could be a gorgeous bunch of foliage. Think outside of the box or the square, as they say. No longer do we need to go matchy-matchy with our bedside tables. So many of our spaces are full of squares and rectangles, so be brave and mix it up. You could easily accompany this beautiful functional bedside table with a gorgeous round, timber turned, or even stone one on the other side. Fresh blooms are a must on your bedside tables. This could be a single stem, it could be a gorgeous orchid, or it could be a bunch of foliage. It's a fantastic way to get that real organic feel in, as well as a pop of colour. The boys' side of the bedroom does not have to be boring when it comes to bedside tables. That is right. You can style the man's side of the bedroom as well. It could be something as simple as a stack of books or magazines to house a really beautiful vintage alarm clock on, or a tiny little dish for his watch or his cufflinks. And even foliage or flowers don't have to go astray. Just make sure it's a masculine variety. Even a pot plant can work well. Smaller pieces of art can be fantastic to use on your bedside tables. You can literally lean them against the wall at the back, and I like to choose a piece of art for my bedside table or a print that makes me smile. So when I go to bed and wake up each morning, I do it with a smile. Keep it real, everybody. That is right. The bedside table, after all, is a functional piece of furniture. So don't be afraid to use all of the functions of it, and don't be afraid to choose a piece that gives you everything you need. If you need storage, then get it. If you need an extra bookshelf, then get it. If you need it at a specific height, then get it. Design is nothing without function. So keep it real and keep it functional. And finally, bedside tables are all about balance, height, colour, texture and style. So good rule of thumb to follow is that the top of your bedside table should always, within reason, be around the same height as the top of your mattress. And don't forget that you can play with scale in every room that you do. So don't be afraid to go slightly larger on your bedside table on one side than on the other. Most of all, remember it's all about function and how it makes you feel when you're in the space. So get to it, embrace your bedside tables, get outside the box and see what you can come up with. Now, Aaron, no matter how much I love the feeling of the flesh of the agaves, they have been called weeds a bit in Australia because everyone is using them and they multiply like you wouldn't believe, right?
They do.
And they also grow long necks like camels.
Yes.
Literally.
They do.
And you're getting ones like these where they were wonderful when they were small and in their spot. Now they're obviously over stepping stones. They're getting roughed up and damaged.
Starting to get in the way, isn't it?
And I don't find they recover from being roughed up.
No, they don't.
They need a bit of love. They need to be stroked.
They do.
So what do? We don't want to get rid of beautiful, beautiful plants like these. What do the owners of this garden do so that they can transplant them safely so they'll thrive? And how do we give them a haircut to help them in their new spot? What do we do?
Extremely forgiving plant, Naomi.
Winning!
So, yeah, very easy plant transplant or to grow.
Okay.
Most people think, you think of a plant, you've got to take it out of the garden,
Yes.
dig the root system up to transplant.
Yeah, and you've got to be really delicate and make sure you don't disturb it.
Not these guys.
Okay.
Not these guys.
So can I get rough and ready with it?
You can. If we get down near the base here, we'll get a big stem down the base. Now that big stem, if you cut that off and plant that top half in the ground, that'll regrow.
Like literally cut it with a saw, like a timber saw.
Nice sharp saw.
Lift it up.
Yep. You can lift that straight over to your new spots, stake it in the ground,
Yes.
and it'll start to grow again.
Okay.
So, it doesn't end there though.
Oh,
Doesn't
there's
end
more.
The base that's been left behind,
Yes.
if we looked over in the back of this garden, and we probably can't quite see it in the camera here at the moment, but over in the back of this garden there's another little plant starting to pop up.
Okay.
So,
pup?
A little pup popping up.
Nice.
A pup. Yeah. So if we just cut the top off the plant here and we leave the root system there, we're likely to get new pups regrow in the area as well.
Okay.
Top section becomes a new plant. These look fabulous in pots.
So it's like a farm.
You got it. They just keep going.
We
and
have
going
an
and going.
agave farm.
Yeah, we do.
Now, what do we do with all this damage that's obviously happened because people have walked past it and they've roughed it up? What do we do with that?
So the lower leaves, we want to keep stripping the lower leaves off as we go.
Okay.
So when you transplant it over, we don't want we don't want all this old stuff creating a rot problem for the plant or anything like
and
that.
it looks gross.
It does. Rip it off and get rid of all these lower leaves that are
Yes.
damaged. We want to leave some of the top. If we
Okay.
take too much of the top off here, then we're not going to get the plant to regrow. It'll start to
Okay.
rot in the ground because it can't
Yep.
use the water it's drawing up.
Okay.
So we've got to leave the top layers of leaf, but take all this stuff down
Take
below.
all the bottom ones off. And what
Just
about with
take
these
them
little
straight
dead
off.
tips? Can we just cut them off so they look pretty?
You can. It won't repair the leaf, but it will make it look a little bit better in the garden short term.
Okay, so we can meet halfway there.
can meet halfway
It won't
on that
repair it, but it will make it look hotter.
You got it. That
Okay.
leaf's not going to regrow. all our growth is going to come back in from the centre here. So, if you want to keep it there for a bit of structure while we're waiting for the rest to grow.
And make it look pretty, I can cut it off. Fantastic. Well, I reckon we go get the saw and get started.
Let's give it a go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plant of the day with Chloe from the Greenery Sydney. I'm here with Chloe today with a little furry feature, I must say. Chloe, what have we got here?
This is one of my favourite succulents.
What do you love about it?
Just that it clumps together. You can use it in little bowl planters with other succulents. You can have them on their own as a little feature.
Now, I do like how tight it is, hey, because you don't have a lot of open space.
No.
And I did notice there's no drain hole in here. How's that going? I thought every pot needed a drain hole.
So they do, ideally, but if you've got a planter that you love that doesn't have a drain hole,
What do I do?
you can add a layer of gravel substrate to the bottom, as long as it's a nice thick layer.
So in this sort of pot, like a third of it?
Yeah, about an inch.
Okay,
Yeah.
that shows your age. About an inch of gravel in there, and then just normal dirt on top for a succulent, or does it have to be that really sandy mix?
It does have to be a sandy mix. It
Okay.
needs to be able to let the water really drain through.
Now, I've got a funny feeling that this isn't one that we want anyone watering each week.
No. So you want to give it a little bit of water each week or each 2 weeks, but not how you would water every other indoor plant.
Okay, and can this one sit in direct sun?
Yes.
Okay, and what could I do to kill this?
Overwater it.
All right, so there we go. Overwatering will without doubt kill this.
Yes.
Okay,
And if it's in too dark light as well.
so it couldn't be in like a central well sort of room in a house.
No.
Needs to be somewhere near a window.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, nice one.
All right, well, welcome back. We are going to talk a little bit about one of the most expensive rooms in a renovation traditionally, which is the bathroom. But there's some...
It is. It can be.
It can be. There's some interesting things that you need to consider that might or might not blow out your budget on your bathroom and help you to create a bathroom space that's
Functional.
cost effective, and looks good.
Yes, because it's all about, let's face it, you know my mantra, doesn't matter how pretty it is, if it is not functional, then it's a no-goer.
The right
I'm
tool
out.
for the right job, otherwise no problem.
You're such a tradie.
Well, it's true, isn't it?
It is really, really true.
Yeah.
So, talking about tools and tasks, I won't say jobs,
glad-
tools and tasks.
Tools and tasks rather than tools
in
and
the
roles.
bathroom. Toilets.
Toilets.
Position of your toilet for me is one of the most key things
Yep.
in your bathroom. There's obviously legislation around door openings and not opening onto a toilet. So if anyone fell, you could rescue them
Yep.
naturally. But apart from making sure we comply with those, for me, it's all about visually.
That's right.
The last thing I want when I'm laying in the bath is the toilet lid up next to me. Can you imagine it? It's like, oh, the toilet seat's up again.
Yes.
So that's a big one for me.
Or even if you put a bath in your bathroom. It depends on size to some extent, whether you put a bath in there. Functionality also comes into play. If you have the room to put one in there, then I would always suggest putting one in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it also depends a bit on the market. So
That's
if
right,
you,
back to research as well.
You know,
so-
even if you're not planning on selling your house, you never know what amazing opportunity might come flying past you next year. You might get asked for your whole family to go live in a penthouse in New York for a year.
happens to me all the time.
I know. In that case, you need to make sure that you're doing things to your property that are still going to add value to it, even though it's your renovation.
That's right.
So,
Go.
if you do have young children, then, or your market is young children, a bath is an absolute essential.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ideally, with a shower outside it.
I was going to say, how do you feel about the shower over bath?
Look, if it's an absolute necessity and you absolutely have to have a bath in there and there really is absolutely no way to fit a shower in, it's okay as long as a downsizer isn't any potential market of yours.
Okay.
Because for a downsizer, a shower over a bath is a no-no.
No.
Absolute
Gone.
no-no.
Okay.
Must be walk-in. So that's the only exception.
That's back to your research where we're researching our market.
Even when it's your own home.
Okay.
Always make sure you're adding the right type of value because you never know what exciting opportunities around the corner.
That's good. Plan ahead.
All right, what about vanities? Bugbear of mine. We're in the amazing FV by Peppers
Yes.
up in Brizzy, and they have made some interesting decisions in the bathroom here. Like put a basin on top of the vanity that is the entire size of the bench top.
And where the I was also to see where the the tapware comes out of the walls so high above the basin as well. It's like,
Correct.
There's water going everywhere.
Literally.
Here.
And so when I blow dried my hair this morning, I actually had to put my hairdryer in the sink and hope no one accidentally flipped the tap on.
No, so you need some storage space, particularly if you've got a young family or if you're the type of couple.
If you're a chick.
If you're a
let's
chick, full
face it.
stop. Just
if you're a
full
chick.
stop it right there. If you're a chick.
And that goes back to going, what do I do in my space? You know, so yeah, we brush our teeth and you gents shave your face, so you need a mirror and a sink. I get that, but other than that, us chicks in there, we're blow drying hair, we're putting makeup on, we're moisturising, we're doing stuff that doesn't always require sink and mirror. Sometimes we need a mirror independent.
And you need bench space.
You need places to put stuff.
You do need to put stuff. But having said that too, we need storage as well.
Oh, it's essential.
So a vanity doubles in all those areas as well.
Vanity's actually super important.
They are really important. If you can get a good vanity, and if you can, like Gnomes and I have spoken about this before,
in detail.
Love a floating vanity. Love a wall-mounted vanity that you can have a clear space underneath for hygiene and just for the ergonomics of movement and air movement and circulation. And also because you're in a wet area, so as many things as you can get off the floor,
the better. The longevity. No matter what anyone says, anything that touches the ground over 10 years in a bathroom will show signs of wear and tear.
That's right.
It just will, no matter what.
And we're talking about moisture in a wet room, ventilation.
Exhaust, heat, and light. You know, we often couple them together, but it doesn't have to be. We don't have to. A lot of the time also, you know what? I think not enough attention is given to light in the bathroom.
I was going to say exactly the same thing, because traditionally a bathroom will carry normally a fairly small window.
Yes.
And I think there's nothing better than trying to bring the outside into a room, any room.
Absolutely.
But a bathroom is a really nice room to bring the outside in if you can do that as well.
But not only that, also like the accent lighting, the mood lighting.
Oh.
Like, why are we still... Oh, that was an oh. Why are we still...
I suppose,
why are we still treating our bathrooms like places just to shave?
It's not just for the kids to have a bath and splash around in. It's somewhere for you to sit down and relax and drink your wine.
And so why do we only have big overhead lights?
No, that's very true.
You
very
know,
good point,
so for me, that's the new generation of
bathrooms.
bathrooms.
So perhaps even some detailed under bench lighting.
Yeah,
and
as long as you can't see it.
Yep.
Even some low voltage pendants if they're in the right places.
That's right. Very good. On a fader on your light switch.
Yep, absolutely.
Speaking of voltage.
Yes.
There are standards for how close you can put a power point to any source of water. So
yes.
Make sure you check the standards. And lighting as well.
Because apparently some people like to try and change light bulbs while standing in the bath.
Oh my Lord.
Apparently that's the reason.
We were discussing things about silly people at
We were. The other thing to think about for me, again, from a female perspective, is the shower rose.
We were talking about this before as well, because it completely blew my mind. I was like, what, you want to get in the shower and you want to get wet. From a guy's perspective, ain't necessarily so for the ladies.
No, because if I am not wanting to wet my hair, the last thing I want is a ceiling shower rose that I literally have to stand on an angle to get my body wet and to try and protect my hair from getting wet.
Exactly.
All about efficiency. If I don't have to wash it, I don't have to do it, I don't want to get it wet.
And if you're renovating a bathroom, you're in those walls changing that tapware most of the time.
So make good decisions.
So make good decisions while you're in there. And utilise the time that you've got that wall space open, you've got your tradies on site. The cost of the trade is not going to be any different or less just for getting them to install another fixture while you're in there. It'll be a little bit more, but they're in there anyway. So
people often say to me, well, how do you choose? And Naomi, like, if we lived together, Ro, you'd be like, I want a big ceiling rose. I want to feel like I'm under a waterfall.
That's right, exactly.
And I'd be like, don't wet my hair. So in that circumstance, I'd actually have both installed. You can either have it on a diverter, like the traditional bath and shower, or you can literally have two mixers in there. So the day where I really want to be pampered, I can have the waterfall and the hand shower going at the same time.
Yeah, that's why it's like getting a massage.
So many things to think about.
I know, but all really, really valuable things to think about, and that can really, really help increase the value and the livability of your bathroom.
I think that's what it's all about. It's about livability, aesthetics, value, and realistically, if you plan well, you'll execute well, and you'll save money in the long term. Okay, so all of the big stuff is done. I'm humdinging along, kitchen is in, bathroom is fully tiled, shower screen is ordered, big stuff is done. Outside's painted, inside's painted, flooring's down. I'm smashing along. I'm really, really excited. But this is sometimes a point that you can go, oh my gosh, I'm nearly there, I'm only a week away, and there's so many little things to do. Everything from making sure that the silicon's done well in the bathroom, and that the silicone between the splashback and the bench top's done well, making sure that everything in the bathroom is fitted off properly, getting the paint off the windows, doing a cleanup. Oh, and you know what? It can feel sometimes like that list is so long. And some people I find put their head in the sand and they go, yeah, we've done the big stuff, we're totally ready to go, we'll be ready for market, or we'll be ready to move in, or we'll be ready for valuation in just a week. So what I actually do at this point is I get quite hard nut with my lists, to be honest. So instead of having big projects inside my list, I have a day-by-day list of what I want to knock off or what I want my team to achieve each and every single day. And the lists are quite long, but they're all tiny jobs that need to be done. So for example, tomorrow on my list, I have that all the silicone needs to be checked and cleaned if needed, that all the grout needs to be off the tiles, that I need to make sure that I've marked out for my plumber to do the fit off, that I need to get all the paint off the windows, that I want all the skips removed off site. A lot of these I'm obviously not doing because I'm actually not on site tomorrow, but I need to make sure I stay organized so that my team can. And there's one thing that so many people forget from their renovation timeline and their renovation to-do list, and that is clean. I know it sounds really, really obvious, but the amount of people that think a renovation clean is a bit like a normal clean and get sorely disappointed when they spend a whole world of time on that cleanup. Obviously, you can keep on top of your clean as you go. Set it, actually, there's a great idea, set it in your task calendar inside your app as a weekly, or even when you're really, really busy on site, as a bi-daily or every 3 days, depending what you're at, job, so you can stay on top of that cleaning. But at the end, without doubt, you need to have scheduled into your timelines that you're going to be doing a huge clean. So once everything is finished off, start from the top with your clean, literally, start from the top, start from the ceilings, work your way down, and you have a sparkling place in no time. So I'm nearly there. I'm so close to the end, I can nearly smell it. And I can't wait to reveal the finished product for you guys. Fresh boom. Bro, catch.
Go.
Oh!
Good to go, got his coffee.
Look, he's not even behind the camera.
I'm setting myself.
I looked odd. That's a good one.
That was long.
Next time on the Reno Show, it's the first installment of Reno Recap since I completed my real renovation. Organisation guru Marissa is back to help you stay organised when you renovate your wardrobe. Jen and I will be revealing how you can fuel your bedroom styling, motivating you with 8 ways to dress your bed. And Rowan and I will break down how to create a perfect first impression for buyers at your property.